Now that we were able to break the guard open and get to that combat base, we need to work on a couple basic guard passes from there. All right, so from the closed guard, we ended up in this nice combat base position. Right, so we have our foot flat on the ground, we're sitting a little backwards, we have our a nice base, our leg out about 90 degrees, so it's very hard to very hard to knock us off balance right now. But we need to get past his guard still. Right. Once we get to here, he has three basic options of movement, and how he moves is going to determine how we pass, right? So the first way he can move is he can shrimp away, right? It's a very common reaction when your guard gets passed, to shrimp away to try to regain a guard. Right, so he decides to shrimp away, right? As soon as we realize that, we have one leg down, right? As soon as he drops one leg to the mat, our combat base knee, right, the one that's coming up and protecting us, is going to drive forward. Right? I'm going to have my knee and my toes on the mat at the same time. Now, because he drove, since he shrimped away towards my back, I can't just look away from him. Right? Now to get this pass, the first thing, right, if I'm going across his body, the next thing after stapling his leg, I need to worry about getting the underhook on the far side. Right? That will prevent him from taking my back. Once I have the underhook, I can drive my head into his chin to extend him away, and then I'm going to slide into base to pass the guard. Right, so from another angle, right, we have that combat base. He decides to shrimp away. We end up having to come across our body. Right, so we're driving our knee, stapling our knee and our toes to the mat, right? Putting a lot of weight on our shin into his thigh. Fighting for that underhook because we don't want to end up, getting our back taken. Right? To open up that space right there, I bring my head into his chin and start extending him away. And now to clear my foot, I'm going to knee slide, having my foot be the last thing that comes out. Once we're here, get your cross face, re-secure your position. Okay, the second option he has for the combat base, right, is he can shrimp the other way. He can shrimp essentially across. We're going to start exactly the same way. Our lead leg is going to drive, and we're going to staple his leg to the mat, knee and toes. Right now, instead of worrying about him taking our back because we're squared up, we're going to fight for the shoulder of justice, right? So we're going to get a nice strong shoulder pressure on his leg, and our first option to pass from here too is we're going to reach back, grab the leg, take a back step, leaving our staple, right? And then after we're clear, we switch our hips and come in. From another angle, right? He shrimps away. We staple, right? Toes on the mat, knee on the mat. Shoulder of justice, right? Grabbing that leg, right? We're then able to back step, right? Out of his guard, leaving that staple, switching our hips to finish the pass. Okay, next option, right? He shrimps, right? We staple, right? We have the exact same shoulder of justice. Right now to pass, right, instead of taking the big back step, you can be a little more methodical. Right, I can X my leg between his leg, across his shin, and I'm able to step out and step out. Right? A little more methodical, a little more pressure passing. Right, so he shrimps away. We staple, shoulder of justice. Right? To finish the pass now, my leg in between is going to step over and staple his shin. I can then step out. Right, he tries to grab my guard at this point. Right, my foot is already out to finish the guard pass and finish inside control. Finally, his third and final option is to just stay squared up, both knees in the air. It makes it really hard to knee slice and cut, to staple his leg to the floor. So what we can do now, though, is we can swim our arms underneath, right, to the double underpass. Now we need to get our hips underneath of his, I'm not going to do this by pulling him up. My knee is going to drive forward, driving him up. Right, now he's sitting on my hips. I can secure my grips. Right? Rolling him forward and onto his shoulders. Right, I'm going to keep driving my weight into his face and his jaw. One arm is going to come across his face. Continuing to drive down. I'm simply going to look away, pressuring down. Let him get out of my way. All right, so from the side, all right, we have that base. He does it, he stays squared up. We swim under both legs, right, secure, drive forward, getting his hips on top of ours. Right, now to finish, right, hugging the thighs, roll forward, getting him up on his shoulders, reach across his face, drive our shoulder pressure down, and look away. They get out of your way, you're able to finish your pass. 3 basic guard passes from the combat base.